Okay, now that we have the unit on, you can see that I've got a couple of different features. I have a moment and continuous. What I'm being told is that you leave it on M and C the entire time. You can switch that at any time you want to by pressing this button in the back. So you can have just momentary stimulation or just continuous. And I believe this is a 2-dog situation. This is a 2-dog controller. You can change it to 2 dogs if you want to. Okay, but how this unit works in relation to the other one is that basically it uses this rheostat dial rather than the function dial here. On the Garmin, this one has 10 modes. Like I said before, I found that our dog is using these lower modes. It doesn't take a whole lot in the beginning. This one has 100, so to adjust the modes, you press it down and it will blink. And you can see I'll be able to go up to 100 if I wanted to. I'm not quite sure why you would go to 100 or high. Our dog tends to shake his head pretty good at 8, 10, you know, so we leave it at 8 or 10. Once you press it and get it adjusted, you can press it down, and now it's locked in at 10. All right, so now we've got the collar and the sending unit operating together, and the Educator has a little bit different than the Garmin. It does have a light as well, but it has a blinking light. That's kind of nice. I like that versus the full light. If you push down you can push down further and get, whoops, the complete light, you know, going just like the Garmin. Garmin is just a little bit brighter on this, but like I said, I like the blinking function so that you're not using up the battery as long. Push the button down again and I can turn that off. All right, so on the Educator series, you have a sensor here, or the button that allows you to either do vibrate or tone. The difference on this unit is to change it to tone, to vibrate, you have to do a combination of buttons in the back and the front to make it tone or continuous. So on the Garmin, you have tone or vibrate. On this one, I have this set to vibrate. You can tell it's a pretty active vibrate. Tells the dog that, hey, I'm touching you, I want you to pay attention to me. In this case, to change this, again, a little more programmatic, you have to push the button down to get the rheostat to go to 0, lock that in. All right, so now I've got it locked in. I can press the middle light button and then the tone button, and now I think I've got that changed now to tone. So you can see I can switch it back and forth. I just happen to use vibrate, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to switch it back now. Okay, now I'm back to... Now I'm back to vibrate. Okay, when we set the rheostat again, you're pushing it down so it doesn't allow you to keep changing it, right? I push it down and I lock it. Now I'm locked in. I have 2 other buttons here that allow me the stimulus. This is supposed to use like a pulse or a TENS unit, type of a TENS unit that's used for muscle aches and things like that. This is supposed to be a different shock. It is a little less sharp, I find, than the Garmin unit, so it seems a little more humane. But since you're starting at all sorts of low levels with your dog to begin with, you're not really giving him a big shock, so you got to be careful. The nice part about this unit is that it does have 2 buttons, and again, like the Garmin, here's our momentary. So you can see I just nicked the dog with a little bit of momentary, and then I have a continuous one. So now that's my continuous. You're not being very good. I want you to come back. This has a holster that can fit on your belt, and it also has a lanyard connection right here. I don't like these units flopping around, so I want it in a holster, and they have a super holster for this one that gives all these buttons available, and it sits on the side of your waist. So while you're holding your gun, if you just need to remove your arm, put your hand down here to do that, you'll be fine. This has a 1 mile range and the Garmin has a 3/4 mile range. So in the end, both great units. This one I like a little bit better because of the location of the buttons. So if these are on my belt, you can see how much more easily these are available to me. This has an antenna extension that you can use to get out further, because to get your mile range on the Upland, you have to hold it above your head. I would assume the same thing would be for the Garmin. They also have that holster, where the Garmin is going to use their standard holster series for their GPS units to attach it to your belt. Both really nice units again, and I think you're gonna like to take a look at all of the features available. But this one is a very little known bird dog kind of a game upland one. It's not available at Cabela's. The Garmin, of course, is available everywhere. So just an interesting comparison to the two units. $269 again to $249 retail. And thanks for watching.